Well, it's been a minute since I popped on this film, and man, did I forget a lot of stuff. Holy shit. This is directed, produced, edited, and written by Matt Stuertz. It's the first film that I've discovered by Matt Stuertz. He has a few others, and I'm probably going to be covering them on the channel, but this is not his directorial debut or anything, but the first one I discovered, like I said. I fell in love with it instantly when I watched it. I mean, this is not a film for everybody. This film is, for a lack of a better statement, disgusting. There is the most gross out shit happening in this movie for comedic and horrific purposes. And yeah, this is not for the weak stomached. This is, I mean, it's beyond a gore fest. It's not quite like, I'd say it's a splatter fest. I mean, it's not like video nasty level or anything like that. But it's pretty damn disgusting, to say the least. This film also starts off one way and then totally switches directions into another kind of theme. And it's really funny at times. It's very quirky. A lot of decision making and a lot of the writing is very strange and very bizarre. Matt Stewart seems to have a specific type of sense of humor, and you're either on board for it and or you're not. This is like on Letterboxd, kind of all over the place. It goes from negative to positive to everything else in between. But I really had a good time with it. It's quirky and it's gory as hell, and it's just like a fun splatterfest, and I just had a really good time with it. And I was on board personally. So of course I had to buy it. Now what we have going on is we have these two characters named Pete and James. James is a mail delivery guy, and he's delivering mail with his buddy Pete, who, as soon as we're introduced to Pete, we know he's a weirdo. He's jerking off in the back seat of the car while James is driving, and James notices, and Pete's like, "What?" And then he starts wiping his hands on the fucking mail. It's crazy. And then they split up because Pete has to go shit in the woods, and James is trying to find this cabin in the woods. This is a cabin in the woods movie, where it's just completely isolated and out in the boonies. And he can't. He's having trouble finding this address, but he goes on his own, and finds it eventually. And nobody seems to be there. And then he just decides, for whatever reason, that it's a good idea to take a nap on the hammock on the back porch. So he takes a nap there. Pete is trying to get a hold of him on his cell phone. And we have this figure, this breathing figure that you see in like 80s slasher movie. You know, it's one of those tropes where you just hear somebody's in their point of view vision and they're like breathing really heavily. And this figure goes into James's car, and this figure then goes into the back where James is passed out on the hammock. And this figure has something in his hand that looks like a screwdriver, or her hand, whoever it is. And then the screen goes to black, and it looks like there's like a struggle, and then there's really gory graphic sound effects of like stabbing, like really gooey sounds that makes it seem like James is murdered, but then he's not, and the story just continues, and this figure is kind of thrown away. I was really confused on that. I didn't know why it was added into the movie. I don't know what purpose it served other than like tricking the audience, like an opening red herring, I guess, in a sense. But I just don't know why that whole thing or I just missed it and I'm an idiot. I don't know. Maybe it clearly was somebody that, somebody in the film, or somebody that you're supposed to know who it is, but I missed the point of that. And then there's these two girls who come to the cabin. Their names are Ashley and Lindsay, and they were supposed to have a friend meet them named Christy, and Christy was supposed to meet them at the cabin, but they're having a hard time getting a hold of her, and they're the two girls that live in this cabin that James was looking for, or were vacationing there anyway. And they're they're hanging out, they're drinking, they're doing everything that guys think girls do, like ripping off each other's bikinis and like slapping each other and then like bumping their butts together and stuff, while Pete has this like stretch out telescope and is watching them. and starts jerking off again. Like I said, there's a lot of dick and like pee and poop jokes in this movie, especially with masturbating. Pete's thing is masturbating. Apparently, he's watching these chicks while jerking off. Really weird. They do catch him, but it's just funny how they're doing everything that, like I said, guys think girls do, but girls probably don't. It's just every guy's fantasy of what they imagine two girls vacationing are going to be doing, and slowly getting into like experimental lesbian shit kind of thing. But the two girls, Lindsay and Ashley, discover James sleeping in the hammock, and then they threaten him with a gun, which ends up being a water gun, but James is scared shitless. And they're laughing about it as if it's no big deal, but they literally just threaten somebody with a realistic looking water gun. And then they just really bond, and they start drinking together, and the amount of liquor that these girls can handle vary back and forth, because literally they each chug a beer, the three of them, and then these girls are hammered as if they just pounded a fifth of whiskey or something like that. Like, these girls are trashed, especially Lindsay. And Lindsay immediately wants to fuck James, and this happens very quickly, and there's a part where Ashley mentions that Lindsay is a virgin. Whether that's true or not is not really set in stone, but we're guessing that Lindsay was not a virgin, and Ashley was just fucking with Lindsay pretty much. But yeah, they just start hanging out. Back in the woods, Pete runs into this girl's body, which ends up being Christy's body. And the film also opens up with a girl basically stabbing herself in the stomach while looking like she's pregnant, so we realize this is Christy. And Christy is dead, but then Pete makes a phone call to Lindsay because he found Christy's phone. And during this phone call, Christy gets up, and she's completely naked through the entire film, by the way. This actress, Della Nicole, obviously has no problem being nude in an entire film, because the entire film she is. And she is interacting with everybody else with no clothes on. So good for her on that, for being comfortable on screen. Also a very gorgeous girl. That goes without saying. I also love Pete's voicemail because he's a no fucks given kind of guy. In the voicemail, he's like, "Oh, by the way, hope you girls enjoyed the show," meaning while he was watching them jerking off. I said he does not give a fuck. And James starts laughing. He's like, "Oh my god, that's so funny." And then the girls are like weirded out, and he's like, "No, that's totally not funny. The dick is not funny because it's a dick." Because the writing has a specific type of humor to it that you can tell that Matt Stuertz obviously has like a unique humor kind of thing, which, like I said, I was on board with. And then Christy comes out through the forest, basically like walks across the lake, not on the lake, but like through the lake or something. She's drenched in blood, so we assume that she basically tore Pete apart. She goes crazy. Apparently she has like some superhuman strength. It looks like she's possessed by something. Christy, I mean. Drenched in blood. It looks like has some kind of like demonic possession thing going on. She's tormenting the three, James, Ashley, and Lindsay, and then they try to get into the cabin, and this guy shows up at the cabin door, and also this girl named Frances. And all these people look like cult members, basically. And when they get inside the cabin, you've got like a pentagram drawn on the floor. You've got this other guy named Philip, who he's a mute character. He doesn't speak, but he also looks like a cult member. And the second half of this film turns into this like Evil Dead slash culty, sacrifice making kind of demonic plot line going on, mixed in with some slasher vibes as well. And this is where things just start to hit the fan when it comes to fucking gore and shit like that. I do want to mention too, there is a throwback to Friday the 13th with a sleeping bag kill. Christy at one point puts Lindsay inside a sleeping bag and whips her whips her against a tree, which is throwback to Friday Part 7. I love that. I love every sleeping bag kill in the Friday the 13th franchise, but especially the Friday the 13th Part 7 one. So good on that choice. I loved that a lot. But yeah, basically Felicity is she's like the lead. Not she's not the cult leader, but she's the one who knows all the readings and lore of everything. So she's reading through this book, and she needs virgin blood. She needs her own blood. She needs Philip's blood, and she needs Ashley's blood. And this film really dives into it. Like she's at one point smelling Ashley's crotch. Like she has her face right in there to smell if she's like pure and a virgin or whatever. And apparently she's pure enough. So Ashley is on her time of the month. This is mentioned when she meets up with James and when they start partying. So she takes out a tampon and starts to squeeze the juicy goodness out of it into a fucking goblet. And it's mixed with Philip's blood and Felicity's blood. And it gets drunk. You can't be eating while watching this film, man. Like, it is gross. You know, like, it's heavy. No pun intended. the the flow is heavy in this movie, and at one point Ashley is trying to and Felicity's trying to force it down James's mouth, and James has it you could see his cheeks puffed out because he has this disgusting concoction in his mouth, and he doesn't want to barf it up because they're trying to save themselves from the evil or whatever. And what this whole time too, Christy, played by Dal Nicole, is outside the cabin too, all zombie like. She's clawing at the windows and she's trying to get in the cabin. And we know she's possessed by something at this point, but again, she's fully nude and she's at no point in the movie does she wear any clothes, and she's just drenched in blood and trying to get in the cabin and stuff. And as these disgusting cult things are happening with sacrificial blood and shit. It's fucked up. And then as the movie ends, as we're approaching closer to midnight, Ashley at one point hears sirens in the background and then sprints off somewhere. And the next time we see Ashley, it's her getting out of an ambulance, and the insides of the ambulance are all splattered in blood. So this bitch has some fucking superior superpowers that apparently she can somehow get into a moving ambulance and kill everybody inside and then drive it back to the fucking cabin. And then she murders Felicity in a amazing way by ripping her face completely apart and then pulling something else out of Felicity. And she gets up and she starts walking all zombie-like, and then it's 3 minutes to midnight. She arrives at this house, which I just left to assume that it's her house. How she got there so fast, just suspend your disbelief, I guess. And it doesn't look like the cabin. It looks like another house, a home of some kind. And then she births a fully grown woman out of her pussy, and you see a practical pussy, but a realistic looking pussy, and this fucking hand come out of it, and then 2 arms, and then head, and then here's this woman that just came out of Christie's vagina, and comes over and she's drenched in blood and whatever, and he just starts screaming, and then cut to titles, Tonight She Comes, and it's written like a fucking love story. It's written like a rom-com, and the movie ends with this song playing that you would see in the ending of a typical romantic comedy. It is hilarious. It left me in stitches. Because it was so unexpected. I love films that kind of cut to black like that, but to cut to black and then end it like a love story was just beautiful. So the sense of humor I was with, the girl who, I was talking about Dal Nicole this whole time, but the girl who plays Ashley, in my opinion, is the most beautiful actress in this film, Larissa White. She did a damn good job. Lindsay did a damn good job too. And the guy who played James, he was hilarious. The way he delivered his lines were really believable and really funny. I think his name is Nathan Eswine. I think that's who played James. If I am mistaken, I apologize, but I'm pretty sure it's Nathan Eswine who played James. And this is a Raven Banner release too. Raven Banner never disappoints me. Literally everything that I can think of that I've seen by Raven Banner is awesome. So, great distribution company. I'm gonna be, like I said, watching a lot of Matt's other stuff too, because I know some of his releases are on Tubi, and I did review this film on my Instagram channel already, but I definitely needed to give it a YouTube review, and I haven't seen this movie since I gave it its Instagram review, which was probably like 4 years ago. So it's been a while. It's been a minute since I visited this thing, and damn happy I did because I forgot. I don't know if I mentioned this already, but I forgot a lot of what happens in this movie. I remember the story and the plot. I remember what goes on and everything, but I forgot a lot of the sequences where I was reminded of, and I'm like, oh fuck yeah, that happens. I forgot about that. Ugh. It was one of those. Great time. Know who you are, please, getting into this film. Know who you are first. And know that it's going to be disgusting. Don't eat before watching this movie. But other than that, go check it out somewhere because it's worth watching. Cult Projections says it's It Follows meet Cabin Fever. I don't know if I fully agree with that, but I see a little bit of where they're coming from on that one. A hardcore blood-soaked beast of a movie, says UK horror scene. That absolutely true. So yes, if you're into a lot of gore and guts and a lot of sex and penis jokes, go check out Tonight She Comes. And subscribe to Morgan Film Fan if you like to listen to my voice or if you like my film reviews. I'll be back with more soon, so stay tuned for those. Check out what's on the channel already. Stay tuned for what's coming. Until next review, have a good one. Take care and cheers.